So the next speaker is Graham Thomas of 8 Days a Week, and probably we're all a bit fearful that maybe with all the social media and everything that was going on that print was not going to be here anymore. Well, I think it's here. I'm particularly looking at my doorstep on 2 days, and I think that's been that's carried on since last week. I think print definitely is here for the moment.
I'm glad to hear it. Yeah. Right, let's have a look. Clicker. So thank you for the introduction, Caroline. As it says on the slide, my name is Graham Thomas. I work for a company called 8 Days a Week Print Solutions. I'm here to talk to you today about the power of print. If I tell you a bit about 8 Days a Week to start with, we have our own production facility in Nottingham. So we've got a printing facility and a mailing facility all under one roof. Some of the customers, some of the sort of delegates in here today I know are users of direct mail and also Facebook, etc. Maybe your interactions with printers not been the same for a number of years, but not all printers are the same. I think that's one of the things that I'd like to get over. A lot of printers are innovating into new areas. Each of them have their own USPs, and our USP, or one of our USPs, is that we're one of only 21 Royal Mail Premier partners around the country, which means that we've been audited and accredited, and it means that Royal Mail trust us to refer their customers to us to help them along the journey of either using direct mail or print for the first time, or improving what they've done previously. Royal Mail are very proud of their brand, and they don't just pick anybody to help them. So that's one of the things that we do. It was actually Royal Mail that introduced us to garden centres to start with about 18 months ago, and we were introduced to the Planters Group, Gerald Ingram, and we've been delivering savings and innovation for them over that period of time. I'm a keen gardener. And nearly 2 years ago, Hillview bought my local garden centre. And the next time I visited, I became a season's reward card holder, which was very, very nice. But I didn't really understand what it meant to me. It wasn't explained what it meant. So being a keen print and mail connoisseur, I went onto their website, had a look at what their loyalty scheme was going to deliver for me, and noticed that they communicated regularly with their season's reward card holders. So looking to try and get some new business, as you do, I contacted Hillview, explained the savings that I thought I could deliver, and once they'd shown me what the relevant packs were that they were going to be sending out. We did our first job for them about 12 months ago. We've done 7 successful campaigns since, and I've got a very good working relationship with the team over at Hillview. So as 8 days a week, we recognised the work that we'd done for garden centres obviously delivered savings for them. It delivered improved return on investment on their campaigns, and we noticed that there was a potential expanding area sector for 8 days a week. So we joined the HTA, and hence one of the things is I'm here today to talk to you. One of the things that we've noticed is we've done a lot of research via telephone, visits to various different garden centres, building a knowledge of current garden centre marketing activity across all channels. We've noticed that there's various levels of knowledge and complexity of things that people do. So some garden centres are doing print with variable text and images, which is very, very cutting edge. And other garden centres were doing absolutely no marketing at all. Most garden centres were using Facebook, social media, word of mouth, a bit of direct mail, bit of leaflet distribution. And we'd identified 4 challenges from the conversations that we were having with the garden centres that they faced. So driving footfall, maximising the limited budgets that they had, increasing the spend of customers once they're in the store, and, as the word has been mentioned already, GDPR was very apt at the time. We also identified 3 barriers that a lot of the garden centres told us they had. So one was a lack of time. A lot of the independent garden centres just got no time to do marketing as they see it. There was a lack of skills. A lot of people who were doing the marketing in the company were very young and had not done print before previously, so it was very much a social media and digital experience for them, and budget was always an element that they looked at. So on the whole, most of the communications were generic, not particularly targeted or personalised to the customer. So it appeared to us that garden centres had developed a lot wider offerings, specialisms, and I think Caroline mentioned experience. It's an experience to go to a garden centre. But garden centre marketing hadn't developed at the same rate in most cases. As Caroline's just alluded to there, and I think one or two people that we spoke to earlier on, print has certainly had a renaissance. It was always part of the marketeer's arsenal to use print, and as a team with lots of experience across print, direct mail and print production, we knew that when print was used correctly within a whole holistic campaign, it delivered results. Over the past 10 years, we've had the digital explosion, and very much due to cost and fashion as well. It's very fashionable to have a Facebook page and a social media account, etc. Digital was seen as the go-to channel. A lot of it is done very well. A lot of it is done badly in lots of cases. But now, due to the sheer volume of communications and messages that are coming out, key messages from you may be missed. It's very easy to press that delete button. It's not unique to garden centres. All sectors are suffering from the same issues. But what we did identify, there was even less focus on giving the customer the choice of which channel they wanted to be marketed to. They might want to be marketed to by you, but it doesn't always mean that it's the channel that you would like to use. Certain groups of people find print engaging. They like to pick it up, put it down, reference, etc. In general, print is very visible, so it's as correctly designed and targeted, it stays around the house. And recent research has shown that a piece of advertising mail, such as we saw earlier, will stay in the house for maybe set on an average 17 days. So that's your brand appearing 17 days and being used as reference. Leaflet distributions are even more if you can target them with coupons that become relevant by time, and maybe up to a month and a half. A leaflet distribution will be in whatever your key place is for putting those items. Lots of people have a little shelf in the kitchen, they have a hall table where items stay and are picked up and put down. That's your brand appearing all of those times, not the instant it's on with social media, it's off with social media. So older generations who, I think it's fair to say, the lifeblood of most garden centres have always accepted printed communications, whereas millennials have only really been communicated to digitally find it a very novel experience to receive a printed materials, and both respond to those. So how do you decide whether to use print or digital in your marketing campaigns? A very simple, in certain ways, customer journey, working from the left to the right. So a customer who's not aware of anything about your business, how do you get to tell them about your organisation? Moving through interest and actually converting to a customer, and then moving right to the far right end where a customer is advocating you and your brand to their friends, relatives, neighbours, etc. We advocate that both digital and printed communications work better together than separately. So there needs to be everything on brand, same message, etc. Digital has the benefit of cost, timing. Somebody can send an email very, very quickly, or a message to you. There's instant response, so you can get feedback instantly, which you can't really get from print. And it's very good for communicating news and updates. Again, as Caroline mentioned about Scott Dale's Facebook gin tasting event, it's there to their Facebook members and it's gone. It's that reactive. Print is more beneficial for detail or technical information. And again, reference, picking up, putting down, making sure that there's something there, so user guides, etc. And loyalty. Again, research has shown that people who communicate using print, their message is seen as being more interesting and more relevant than an email sent at the same time. So again, Scottsdale's new loyalty scheme, I'm sure that Caroline wouldn't have launched that as a scheme if she didn't think there was going to be benefits for a business further down the line. And certainly from the loyalty schemes that we do for the likes of Hillview, they certainly see the benefits from a return on investment. So let's just say you've decided to take a fresh look at print from here in the first few slides. What do you need to consider? So the 4 key areas: data, design, print and distribution. I'm going to look at them each separately. You've still got those barriers of cost, skill and time that people may have. But what I hope to demonstrate is by working with the right partner, these barriers can be negated. So if we move on to the first one, data. It's been mentioned a couple of times already. GDPR came in on the 25th of May. Our research has shown that lots of businesses, including garden centres, were very badly advised about what they needed to do with the data that they hold on customers. We've spoken to some garden centres who deleted everything that they had on customer data, which is frightening. And I don't know how you then start to survive, to build up again from that position. Many organisations went down the consent route, which was the sort of the main discussion that people were having at the time. But even when people went down the consent route, some people lost 75% of their customers overnight, because why would you ask somebody, in effect, do you want to visit my garden centre or do you want me to communicate with you, when they may have been customers for years and years and years. Let's look at Postal Communications for a second, and hopefully you can see that's a bit on the background. But the ICO, these are the people who control GDPR in this country. You don't need consent for postal marketing. You can rely on legitimate interest for marketing activities. If you can show how you use people's data is proportionate, has minimal privacy impact, and people would not be surprised or likely to object. So how many people would think that they would have a customer who's liable to object, who's visited their garden centre, and you're sending them some details about the offers that you have from that garden centre? Has anybody seen that before about postal marketing, just for us interest? No. Legitimate interest or consent, they were sort of the 2 options that were given at the time. As long as you have a clear policy as to why you are contacting your customers and easy ways to unsubscribe, you can carry on or start postal marketing. And even Royal Mail give extra discounts for customers who put significant unsubscribed messages onto their marketing materials. So if you haven't got any client data, then there's leaflet distributions, or Royal Mail have recently launched within the last week a new GDPR compliant partial addressed service, which is ideal for acquiring new customers and help you get where you need to be. So the second area to look at is design. We look at, from a printing point of view, we look at design in 2 ways. One, creative, so what does the artwork look like? Is it seasonal? Is it based on audience type, or is it very sales-led? So lots of information and lots of content. And then from a technical side, what is the format of the print? Is it going to be a postcard, a letter, a brochure, etc., what you're sending out? But print is innovating all the time, and if you may have used print in your business 5 years ago, print is very different now, and it has to be different to keep up with the advances within digital area. Turnaround times have improved. Most of the mailings that we do, if they're not too complex, are in and out our factory in either 24 or 48 hours. So it's very quick, very easy to contact customers via print these days. Personalisation rather than generic print has been very responsive. I saw a presentation last week which showed that how from a very young age we're conditioned to respond when we see our name or hear our name. So if you see that something that is personalised to you arriving on your doormat, it's that doormat experience again. It's something that's innovative, creative, that's landing on your doormat with a personalised communication on it. You're liable to open it if it's relevant to you. The other thing from our point of view as 8 days a week is that we would like customers to move away from their reliance on the 6 most expensive words in business. We've always done it this way. Always doing it this way might have worked for you, it might still work for you, but that doesn't mean to say that you can't get it better if you try something different. Standing still is basically going backwards, so we need to test to determine which communication types your individual customers respond to. Distribution. You have a number of different options of how to distribute your printed material. So you can either address it if you've got customer data, you can unaddress leaflets coming through your door, you can use static leaflet displays, something like Take One Media, or there's obviously all of your in-store displays, posters, point of sale information, etc. You're liable to need many relationships with multi-suppliers with different specifications. But if you work with a reliable printer mailing partner, we'll simplify the process and take away the hassle. So if you're looking to move plastic from all areas of your business, including your marketing materials, or you do mailings at the moment, but you want to reduce your postage down to 15 pence an item, then you need to seek advice from one of these professional organisations. Sorry, I'm just getting back. So print is engaging. Research has shown that personalisation, as I said before, increases response. If you send a mail piece with text and images which are relevant to the receiver, it's going to stand out. And if you change the format from something maybe that you have always done, as long as the brand is there, customers will be inquisitive because it's something slightly different to what they would expect. It's visible, it stays around. We've got Planters, one of the mailings that they do has in effect 8 tear-off coupons. So it stays around for the customer for 8 weeks because they can get different offers each week in their over 60s club. And it's responsive. People still like coupons, paper coupons. And print is also very, very good at linking to your digital. So if you have an online website, print is very good at driving people to your website or any other digital experience that you want them to have. All customers are different. So if we have a look here on this particular slide, you've got a range of ages. You've got a range of the number of times that a customer visits you, so building on maybe from the information that we've heard in the previous 2 presentations. They have different interests, their average order value is slightly different, and the challenge that you have with them is different as well. Print technology, as it sits at the moment, and the way that we can use a single campaign can reach each of these customers in a different way, trying to get different information from them using variable images, texts and offers. So if you want Mr. Black to upgrade his aquatics, you can send that within the same mailing as trying to understand why Miss Brown doesn't buy anything outdoors. It might mean that she lives in a flat, so she's only got a balcony. If you know that information, use it. If you don't know that information, then digital is a very good way of gathering information from surveys about customers that you can then build into your system and then use print to start building that relationship even more. So our idea is to use what you know. It might just be name. If you don't know anything about your customers, or if you only know the name, try find some ways of finding out some more, and we can help you with that. So print has never been as accessible for garden centres. We work in hundreds of items for clients. We don't have to have tens of thousands of names and addresses. Print can be used by a business of any size. So I understand there's obviously some manufacturers and nurseries in here who may not have end customer clients. It might be a smaller audience, but if you can spend more then on the creative because you're not sending as many out, you'll stand out once your items arrive. And I think, as Carol said, if you've got 5 or 6 suppliers of Christmas trees, you might have your regular supplier, but who else is there that's out in the market who can show you something innovative when they're trying to communicate with you? Print technology now gives the smaller player the ability to copy and compete with bigger companies if used properly. And print is measurable. So you've got the number of coupons that are returned, you've got the value of vouchers redeemed through EPOS systems that you can help drive the rest of the information. The right print partner can help you maximise your marketing budget as well. You may have smaller volumes, but then you can do better targeting. Be different. Last year when I came to this event, Liz Dowling at Millbrook was talking and demonstrating how they deliver plants to new houses, and had obviously had some success with that. So what's wrong with delivering a printed welcome pack to new houses that are in your catchment area with seeds or vouchers enclosed? Show you understand. So if they've got a new house, give them a guide to how to raise the new garden or how to look after the lawn for the first time. So let's be creative. One of the presentations that we've just heard was talking about how to improve the shopper experience. How many people have got a guide to the store with a map showing where everything is? So if you want people to come in and go directly to a particular area, a very simple map is going to be able to get them to do that. So how are we going to rise to the challenge? For us, it's test, and measure. Make sure that you look to do something different with the marketing activity and the marketing budget that you've got. Find a good partner who's going to help you manage your costs. Remove your GDPR worries, and there are still GDPR worries, I'm sure, in the room. Use their experience and knowledge to drive footfall and increase customer spend by delivering your personalised messages using the customer's channel of choice, not just your channel of choice. That's the presentation. Thank you for listening. We're about all day, Simon and myself, and we've got a free copy of a garden centre marketing overview for anybody who wants to come and collect one from us. And basically, any questions?
Well, I'd just like to back up what you've said. I mean, we put 4 or 5 of our magazines out every year, on top of now our loyalty, which is 4 times a year, all done in the post. These loyalty are personalised. These aren't. Within the middle of the catalogue are vouchers, and the last 2 vouchers, one which is a buy one get one free lunch in January, and the second one is a February voucher, will still be redeemed, if not more than the vouchers that actually are just going out. So they do have longevity in either in someone's purse or on the coffee table, hopefully. So very powerful.